We're here in New Orleans, Louisiana at the mouth of the Mississippi River where all kinds of debris and dirt and rocks come down here from the rest of the country with some strong currents that make this whole area, this whole stretch of the river, one of the most treacherous parts of navigating a river in the country. And if you want to be a riverboat pilot here, you have to have years of studying maps. You have to mentally memorize every twist and turn and be able to prove that you know how to make it through this area in order not to destroy yourself or somebody else in the process. You know, life is a little like that. There's a lot of twists and turns. There's a lot of things submerged that we don't expect that sometimes pop up. What happens when those things come our way? Are we just left to try to figure it out all on our own? Some people believe that God just left us to figure everything out by ourselves. But what if that's not the case? What if there's more? What if God wants us to be happy and He's with us and He's helping us make it through all the decisions that are coming up in your life? Maybe you're not alone. Maybe He wants more for you than maybe you sometimes even feel is possible. So we've been shopping in Times Square. We've been driving Ferraris around a racetrack. We've even heard from some people who have had it all. Maybe you're even looking forward to some fun this weekend, something cool in your life. But when it's over, what then? You know, I think that it's helpful for us as we look forward in our lives to kind of some of those twists and turns that we talked about that might be upcoming. It's helpful to look at some other people that have maybe found the happiness that we want. I'll tell you a story. When I was a kid, 12 years old, I went and saw a patient with my dad who was a physical therapist. And there was an old man named Mr. Munley who had had a tough life. When this guy was 18 years old, in the prime of his life, he had a stroke. He had to struggle to work the rest of his life. He lived in a shack. He wasn't able to kind of hang out with anybody else in his life. His family kind of started to move away from him. He finally got married when he was 49 years old. It only lasted for a year. He wet the bed for the first 50 years of his life because he had a problem with his body that the doctors couldn't figure out. Shortly after that, the guy goes blind. He ends up in a nursing home. When I finally come to see him with my dad, who asks him every time he sees him, "Mr. Munley, how you doing?" And he would always respond with, Mr. Bob, God has been so good to me." You might be like, how's that possible? I remember thinking that as a kid, like, are you serious? This guy can't be happy. What is there to be happy about? When we hear about people like that, what do they have in their hearts that we might be missing? As you might be thinking about some of the tough things in your own life, relationships that are maybe not what you want them to be, or maybe you failed a test this week, or maybe you got into a fight with your boyfriend or girlfriend, or maybe you've been just neglected. I want to encourage you to sit with the question that, is it possible that maybe, just maybe, God hasn't left us all by ourselves? But if we're honest with ourselves, can we ask the question, maybe the source of our happiness that He's moving us towards is Himself. Maybe He's the way to everything that we really desire in our lives.